Good people, what is going on? The All Go Podcast, another episode. Greatly appreciate it. Please like and subscribe while you're here. It'd be amazing. Anywho, want to talk about some NFL, just the NFL itself. Hopefully, this audio is not awful and you can listen to it. If it's not, then I probably won't post the video. But anyway, um, the NFL just does a really good job of having something on the calendar at any given point in time to talk about. And there's a slight downtick, but in general, they always have events going on. So obviously, with August is usually when start to get preseason games, and really July is when you start to get the training camp news. August, you got preseason games. So you got guys getting cut, who's going to make the team, who's not, waiver wires, all those good things. So that's July, August. Obviously, September, October, November, December, January, and February is the games, the ones that matter. And the benefit that the NFL has that the NBA doesn't have, that baseball doesn't have, is that because the season is so short, as far as the games themselves, it's only 17 games. Each one of them is really important. So in week one, if Kansas City loses to the Raiders in week one, that's going to be something big to talk about, right? If today I don't know, Hornets beat the Celtics, I mean, it's not going to be the first story on sports talk, whereas that Raiders against the Chiefs would. So they have that going on. February, Super Bowl happens, and in March, you're now into which we are moving into combine season, and from there, also moving into pro days, right? So those things happen. Pro days also go into April as well. And then the end of April, you've got the draft. Then in May, everybody is reacting to what happened in the draft. So now it's draft season and, talk about that. What team is, draft grades, all that good stuff, which is so ironic because we don't really know. We're just guessing. There's got right. No one looked at Puka Nakua being drafted by the Rams as, oh my gosh, they got the steal of the draft, and they maybe did, but we're all just guessing. But you got that going on, and really June is probably the time where you would look at it and say, okay, this is the actual downtime, because really when you think about it, a lot of the big shows, those big personalities, or whatever you want to call it, that's usually when they are on vacation. They'll take like a week off, so on and so forth. And that's also when the NBA finals are, is like in June as well. So that's the one time where the NFL's not like front and center. But other than that, it's just all the time. So it's pretty cool to see. And for a league that has a pretty short season, it's wild how they have events all throughout the season, or all throughout the year, to really dominate the headline. So thought that was interesting. Um, Want to switch gears and talk a little bit about Myles Garrett. Um, Obviously, I did a video about my hope that the Lions go and get Myles Garrett, but that I'm not getting my hopes up by any stretch of the imagination. And Brad Holmes only confirmed that at the combine, where someone had asked him to the tunes essentially of, "Hey, are you guys gonna try to get a superstar pass rusher?" And he's like, "Probably not," which that falls in line with what I was thinking. So not too surprised there. But the GM of the Browns, I believe it's Andrew Berry, had also said at the combine that basically we're not moving Myles. Like, nothing's really changed. We're not looking to move him. And I also heard a report today that he even said further than that, Myles is unmovable, which, to each his own. And they can have whatever stance they would like, but don't screw this up, because this is the type of thing that can get you fired as a GM if you don't do it right. Now, if you are set in your mind that Myles is going to play for us regardless of what we do. So whether we could tell him, hey, we tried to get a trade for you, it didn't work, they didn't, blah blah blah. If you think that, hey, if we just if we just go chalk, don't make any moves, is what it is, and we almost force his hand, and he will play for us. If you're setting that and you think that will be the case, then I would say that don't trade him. Don't trade him if you think and believe that he will play for you if push comes to shove. If you are wrong about that, you might end up screwing yourself over because if let's say the worst case scenario, like you basically you have to trade him, or he's saying he will not, I will not put on a Cleveland Browns uniform again. The best time to trade him is right now, or draft day. But from now until the draft is the best window to trade him, and the reason being is because the NFL draft has not happened yet. So you trading away Myles Garrett means, number one, I haven't seen the cap ramifications, like long term, anything like that. But essentially, you're probably going to have some dead money there. But I think there will be cap space opened up. So you'll have more cap space. And number two, which is most important, is you would get a draft pick for this year. The worst time to trade Myles Garrett is a month after the draft. Because at that point, the earliest draft pick you can get is after the dang football season. It'd be like 11 months away at that point. That is ludicrous, and that's dumb. So if you have to do it, the window is now. I would make an argument that your best bet would be to open up the floodgates right now. Because guess what? You've got every single GM, or maybe not every single, but just about every GM and head coach is in Indianapolis right now. You can find the best deal right now. There's not a better time to do it. So, and if you want to be aggressive, be greedy, like, listen, man, this conversation is not even going to start without two ones and two twos. And put it out there. See who wants to pony up and do it. Because I guarantee there will be a team that would do that. If I were the Lions, I would do that. I'm just being honest. I think he is just a knockout player. He's a superstar. But for the Browns, a trade like that can reset and set up your franchise and put you in a position to be really, really good. I mean, could you imagine getting two number one picks in the next two drafts and two number two picks? I mean, that is massive when it comes to just rebuilding a team that's very cheap labor in the salary cap ramifications, and you can do a lot with those picks as well. For example, think of this. Let's say they trade Myles Garrett to, I don't know, Washington Commanders. I think they're in the 20s as far as their picks. So you have the number one pick, or I'm sorry, you have the number two pick. Let's say you trade down from that number one pick. So let's say you trade down to, I don't know, 5, 6, and pick up an extra third round pick or second round pick. I mean, you're really starting to accumulate picks for a team that needs, the Browns need a lot. They need a lot. The Deshaun Watson contract is on the books. It's going to be awful. Um, they just need some talent. So you really start to accumulate a lot of talent. You can do a lot of things. It's a lot of flexibility, but you need the teams to get into a bidding war, right? If you're selling a house, you don't you want to price the house at a point where a lot of people will come and see it, and ideally you get multiple people in a bidding war. So now, they're bidding off of each other and drives up your price of what you can get. So that would be my thought on the Myles Garrett situation. I would trade him uh, because the last thing you want to do is that scenario I just mentioned. You try to play hardball with him a little bit with these other teams, and we're not going to trade him. We're not going to do it, and then it's after the draft, and he lets you know, like, by no means am I playing for Cleveland Browns ever again, and you're just kind of stuck with it at that point. That Not a great scenario. You don't want to have big problems in your locker room. And Myles Garrett is not a big problem at this point, but he's also been super respectful of like, hey, you know, he's done it in a very professional way. Hey, I'm trying to win. That's my goal. That's my focus. That's what I want to do. Um, and hopefully, Cleveland will grant his wishes and make a trade and see who suits up for next season. But that is it for me. Appreciate it. Peace.